What's up guys, Scotty here from the Blue Coconut family and welcome back to another City Skylines tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at the brand new fishing industry in Sunset Harbour. So if you haven't got Sunset Harbour yet, why not? It's a really good DLC to go download. It's got lots of features and expansions and a lot of things included in it that just make your city so much better. So go ahead, go get it now and then pop back and watch this video. So for all of you still watching, the fishing industry adds a whole new layer of gameplay to the game. So if you've already got the industry's DLC, what included things like the ore industry, the oil industry, the forest industry, and all things like that, as well as the farming as well, where farming seems to be most popular, then this adds a fifth one to that. This adds the ability to have fish and fishing, which is quite cool, and I quite like the idea of that. Now, there are a couple of differences between this industry and the previous industries. So the big one is that whereas the previous ones all kind of, you could use them as well as exporting and going out towards kind of your consumer market, but you could also kind of put them all towards pooling your resources into making mega factories and things like that. So you'll see in my city I've got things like this shipyard, which you can see I can use the timber, the plastics, the glass and metals from my industries into it to produce something like mega. So for example, this is ships and things like that, and you can sell those and they can make money for your city, which is quite a cool thing. Unlike that, the fishing industry doesn't have that, because at the end of the day you can't make much out of fish other than fish. No, you like, food is pretty much where it stops with fish. Put in the comment section below if you can think of anything else other than fish, but off the top of my head I can't think of anything other than food that you can make from fish. But that being said, they've got a lot in there to make that experience still really good and really awesome, and I've loads of credit out there for making this expansion in this industry, because it is really good. So there are four main buildings to the fishing industry. You've got harbours, you've got farms, you've got the market, and you've got the factory. And they all kind of interwork to each other. So I'll explain through all of them. So harbours and farms essentially do the same sort of job, just in different ways. Okay? So they are your production places. Okay, so that is your production buildings. So that is where your fish is produced or farmed or harvested, whatever word you want to use out there. So your harbours are the one where you have the boats that go out to collect the fish from the fishing grounds. Okay, your farms are stationary places that use nets or little mini bio farms and such in the water to produce fish products. So they all produce fish products. Okay, so that's something to differentiate. Is although there are 4 different types of fish, they all produce fish. Now that sounds really bizarre, and it took me a while to get my head around it, but they all produce fish products. Okay, but they have got different rates of collection and like popularity and things like that, but at the end of the day they all go through to make fish resources that go into what I'm explaining next is either the market or the fish factory. So the fish market is exactly that. It is a marketplace where your fish are shipped to raw, no processing, so straight from either the harbour or the fish farm, and they are then sold directly to your citizens and your population of your city. And it's quite a cool thing to have, is this little market that you can have people go to buy fish, and that's basically direct from the industry to the consumer, which is really quite cool. And I know for me, I can think of quite a few places, mainly coastal, where there are fish markets right by the coast, so you can buy some of the freshest fish directly from a market. But my god, do they smell. The fish smell inside them. Granted, they sell fish, so they're going to smell, but they smell a lot of that fish. But they are some of the places you can get your best fish. They really can. Comment below, do you know any of places like that? Love to hear what you think. So yeah, that's the fish market. The other one is the fish factory. And that's a little bit more kind of commercially. So that's exactly, as it sounds, is where your fish are canned and it is turned into goods, which is then sold into your commercial zone. So this is where it gets turned into goods. So that if you've got commercial zones where they're saying there's not enough industry or there's not enough goods to sell or things like that, you get those little error messages. This will help that. This means that directly from your result of fishing and doing this production and industry, you can then sell directly back into your consumers, so it goes directly into the stores. Now, there is a third option, which isn't a building, and that's direct export. So you can export both fish resource, so directly from the fish harbours and the farms, you can export that, or you can export directly from your fish factory. Both of those produce money. Okay, so technically all of these produce money, but that's a direct export. Now, another thing, unlike the other industries, this is different because despite you being able to export fish, you cannot import it. So you can't just put down a fish market or the fish factory and import fish to then sell in. It doesn't work like that. It won't let you. You can't import fish. Okay, with that being said, let's move on to the different types of buildings and the different way you can fish. So, let's explain how the fishing grounds work, because we'll cover the harbours first. So you've got a couple of options what you can do. You can either fish in rivers, which is absolutely fine, you've got no issue there at all, or you can fish in the ocean. I'm going to choose the ocean because that's really kind of how my setup's done. So I've got some nice big ocean here, and you can go outside your line. Now it's the only industry or the only thing in City Skylines where you can actually go outside your little border line here, which I quite like. I like that you can do that. That's really quite cool. So, how do you know where's a good place to fish? So, if you open up your data tabs or your info views, you come down to here, your fishing industry. If you click on this, it gives you a very colourful view of your water. Now, you see there's quite a few different colours there, and I can explain quite easily what all of these are. So, you can see on the left hand side you've got this little panel that explains exactly what they are. And so you've got the 4 different types of fish that I explained earlier. So you've got anchovies, you've got salmon, you've got shellfish, and you've got tuna. Now these are in orders of exactly what they are, and there's different types of water conditions of how they are produced. Okay? And I'll explain those. So you can see the areas where all these fish are. There's some tuna here. Here is some anchovies, some salmon around the edge, and the majority of shellfish is the deep ocean. You've got tuna up the river. And you may be thinking, okay, how do you produce these different types of fish? So I have done a little video on this before, but I'll cover it here. So each of these are covered by different water conditions, and that is 2 different points. One is the depth of the water. So you can either have shallow, such as rivers and things like that, or coastal regions, or you can have deep water. Okay? So those are the 2 types, and you can see that they're split here. So anchovies and salmon are your shallow river types of fish. Shellfish and tuna are your deep water types of fish. So that's how you can do that. So if you're mainly in a river, you're going to be looking for anchovies and salmon, whereas if you're in the ocean or deeper like lakes and things like that, you're going to be looking for mainly shellfish and tuna. Now there's a couple of caveats to that. You may be looking at my screen now going, but you have a river that has tuna and I can see shellfish in it. What's the case of that? Now I have a dam here. So early on when I built this city, I put a dam across here so I could have a higher river. That's exactly what it's done. It's created a deeper water in my river so that I have got deep water fish out my river, and just where you can see kind of that deep water stop, it goes back into being tuna. Now up here you've got more deep water in the top end of the river, so that then you've once again got those types of fish. But majority of rivers and such like that in your maps, you will have things such as the salmon and you have the anchovies and the salmon. So that's not really anything to worry about. Now the other type of thing you need to focus on to be able to differentiate what type of fish you get is the state of the water. So that's the speed and such like that. And there's two different types. There is stationary water, or close to stationary water, and moving water. Okay? So they are what differentiate the different types and the different depths of water. So you've got anchovies, but if you look around, you will see are mainly in the ocean bits, but they are close to the shore because they're a shallow water fish, but they are stationary. So where there is stationary water, there's no movement, you have anchovies. Whereas where you have flowing water, moving water, which is shallow, you have salmon. Okay? So that's when in your rivers you have salmon. And it's exactly the same for the deep water fish. Where there's stationary water, so most of the ocean, you have shellfish. Where you have moving deep water, you get tuna. So I hope that makes sense for you. And let's go on to building some of these buildings to show you exactly what you can do with them. So you can find these underneath your industry tab, so garbage and industry, and then you've got your fishing industry on the very end. So you've got your line first, your fishing route, and then you've got your different types of harbours. So I'll explain through the different types of harbours, and then I'll go through the different types of the farms. So to start off, you've got the fishing harbour. This is unlocked as a basic, but is unlocked at the milestone of Tiny Town. So it's quite an early game thing, but it's a milestone that you unlock to get this fishing harbour. So costs 8,000. Upkeep of 80 a week, not too bad. That's quite good, fairly decent. Then once you start building up that, now the same with all the other industries, you've got to rank up within the industry itself. You don't have to have an industry zone for fishing. That's a big difference. You just have to have it. But you rank up within the industries to unlock the next layer. So next to that, you've got the anchovies and salmon. So kind of your you've got your shallow water harbours. These are unlocked when you have caught 250,000 fish from your fishing harbour. That's how you unlock the next layer, and then you can build those. So the main difference between these is the fishing harbour, the basic fishing harbour, has low capacity fishing boats. So it's very small fishing boats, so it's kind of like your small time fishing boats that go out. It's got an okay catch rate. It's not too bad. It does catch fish, but it takes a while for it to go round and catch fish. But the big thing is it catches any type of fish. So you can literally put this boat in any waters and it'll catch whatever fish is in it. It'll just catch them all. You know, it's pretty much like a Pokemon at that point. And it will just send it back to shore and it will unload the fish into whatever you've got going. Okay? Then if you move on to these are then going into more kind of specific kind of fishing. So, like the name suggests, anchovies and salmon, they catch, you know, the counterparts of salmon and anchovies. The difference between these ones and the other ones, because you may be thinking, well, if it all makes the same sort of thing, why would you upgrade to be a specific fish to be caught? Why would you choose one over the other? So, I can answer that in a couple of steps. One of, why would you choose this over just the normal fishing thing? It's because these have a high capacity of fishing boats. So, sorry, not high capacity of fishing boats. They've got a high capacity fishing boat. So the boats they send out have high capacity, so they can hold a lot more fish. So it means they don't have to go out as much to collect more fish. So that's very important. They've got a very high catch rate. So it means that they don't have to be in the area that long to catch the same amount of fish that the other boat that would have to be in the same area for longer would. So they can catch a lot more fish in a shorter time and they can hold a lot more. So already a massive bonus. But the downside is they only catch that certain type of fish. Now, the next stage of that of, why would you choose to catch a fish that is harder to farm? Now, that might be a confusing question, but it's fairly easy enough explained of, you can look at my map and instantly, if I told you, what's the best type of fish for me to go and catch? The answer would be shellfish. Now, for people who don't quite understand why that's my answer, have a look at my map. What's the predominant colour? It's purple. That means there is a lot of shellfish around my map. It means I basically don't have to go very far to catch shellfish. What would you say is the hardest fish for me to catch? So I would draw that as probably even between salmon and tuna. Okay? Now, salmon usually is pretty easy. I will admit that I've made it harder for me to catch salmon, but salmon in your games, you'll probably find it easier. For example, if I didn't have the dam here, I could build, my fishing here, and this would all be tuna here. So I'd be able to catch lots of tuna, and you got loads of tuna around the edges of islands, things like that. So just for this map, tuna's quite hard, but in most maps it's not. Sorry, salmon's quite hard, but in this map it is. Okay. Tuna is usually the hardest because not only does it require deep water, it requires moving water. Now, there's not many maps that have natural places for tuna. Now, the only way I've managed to get some to spawn, so without having to go all the way around the island up this deep river here, which has got a nice natural salmon in here, is I've got a little thing over here, and that's literally because I've got a little kind of water suction thing there just to create a little area for tuna. So I've had to artificially create that area of tuna. But you can use like river physics and things like that to be able to create tuna sections like this here that you can then go fish. That's completely acceptable. You can go ahead and do that. But you can already see it's a lot harder. So why would I choose to say I want to go for tuna over shellfish, for example? It'd be a lot harder for me if I built my things here, which I am. Why would I choose to send it out to the tuna field here over just sending it around this bit a couple of times and in? It's going to be a lot quicker. Well, it's because the higher level of fish you have, the higher number of freight trucks and the higher number of workplaces that it has. So, for example, freight trucks for the basic, you have 6. Workplaces, you've got 26. For the anchovies and the salmon, you have 10 freight trucks and you've got 28 workplaces. Whereas if you move out to the ocean, shellfish, you've got 18 trucks and 36 workplaces. And for the tuna, you've got 24 trucks and you've got 36 workplaces. So it's a huge increase of those trucks, which can help relieve the stress on the industry because you can get things moving. So that's kind of a bit of an incentive for you to build higher and better. So let's build these. Let me show you. So I'm going to build. What did I say? Let's go some shellfish. Here we go. Some lovely shellfish. Now I may have to move this road here. Yep, I'm gonna have to move this road. Oh, there you go. No, wait, I forgot. You don't actually need a road because these all come with a road pre-built in. So that's something worth noting, is all these come with a road pre-built into them. Just like so. And we can connect this up. It's a 2-lane road. So similar to my other cargo tutorials I've done, is please remember it's only a 2-lane road, so don't make this a through route because it will clog up traffic. And things that are coming on the opposite side of the road will get stuck. So for example, if you've got traffic, my game's a left-hand drive because I'm British, so if I've got trucks coming in this direction, they will struggle to turn right into this. They will want to turn. They will want to be coming the opposite direction to come in left. So bear that in mind on which way you want your road to travel when you're building these sort of things. Okay. Now they require water and power, as most buildings and things in this game do. If you're not sure how to do power and water, I've done some tutorials on that. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and go watch those videos. Are really useful. So now I've done those, you'll see that there's a symbol above the building there. That says that I do not have a connected route for my fishing trawlers to go. And you can see here, fishing route incomplete. And this is actually what it is. So, to build a fishing route, you come back into the industry tab, and you've got this section here, the fishing route. Now you can see these two little markers here. One is out, one is in. Now I can't actually remember which one it is, but one of them is out, one of them's in. In all fairness, I don't think it matters too much. What I'm going to have this do is just do a big loop around. Now they can't overlap, but you create like a little bus route similar to how you used to have the bus route. You can see there the sign's gone. Now I've completed that route and it is now operating normally. Okay, which is quite nice. And at some point we should see, there we go. Okay, so worth noting, if you're looking at the building from the sea, the left hand side is out, right hand side is in. We can see that there now the boat is gone out, and once it is gone into the shellfish fishing grounds, it says it is collecting shellfish. And we can see as it goes along, it's collecting fish. It is already at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So what you can do is you can just keep an eye on this on your boat, and you can just make a mental note of, is it getting around its loop before it's collected all its fish? Maybe it's getting to the end and it's only at like 50%, so make your route bigger and make it go further so that it collects 100%. Or maybe it's only getting around half your route before it's collected all your fish. And then you've got to think to yourself, actually, then I'm wasting space. Then that means that they are doing a whole nother lap of this route and they're not collecting fish. What's the point? You know, I might as well just, at that point when they get to 100, send them straight back to the harbour. Make your route shorter. You know, fiddle around with your route, make it a little bit better, work out what works for you. So I can see here it's at 70%, so it's probably going to be 100 about here-ish, I reckon. Hard to say, but probably about that. And like I say, that's probably okay. At that point, it's already on the way back to the depot. So I'm not too worried about it hitting 100 and then going back all this route. It's not. I can't really make that any better. That's just the route it is going to be. It's probably even going to be shorter than that, looking at where it is. But like I say, I'm pretty happy with that. It's where the boat is at this point. So, oh yeah, I was slightly off, so it is there. So there you go. It's now caught its fish. And it's now heading back to here. But I don't have anything for these to do. Okay? So what the next thing I need to do is I need to have a place for these to go. Now, as I mentioned before, there's two places you can have. You can have the market or you can have a fish factory. So let's look at the fish market. Okay, so the fish market you unlock at the milestone of the tiny town. So it's the first one you unlock, and you unlock it at the same time as you unlock the fishing harbour. So you can work these side by side, and you can find it under here. And it's right at the end. It's this one, fish market. Now place this somewhere, commercial or close to your residential. Don't place it inside your residential because, as you can see, it does have quite a noisy pollution ring around it. So don't place it right inside your residential, but have it somewhere where your residents can get access to it and make it a little bit nicer for them. So I'm actually going to place mine. I'm going to place mine here. Yeah, place mine there. So it's within the kind of reach of the main road. It's opposite the bakery, which is quite nice. There's loads of paths nearby. Absolutely perfect. It needs some water. It's just outside the water zone. Shucks. So we can see there, now we've got the market. It's a really nice model. It looks really cool. Loads of vans outside. Out the front here. A couple of they look like little boats. Although those look like giant fish. Are those giant fish? Really hard to tell. They might be boats or giant fish. Comment below what do you think those are. But what happens now is you can see here that operating normally, but no fish are sold and there's no tourists. So tourists will go here. So if you've got a high tourist throughput in your city, then this is a place for them to actually go and buy some fish from your city. So it's actually new money coming into your industry. But nothing will operate until you get a delivery of fish, which we can see here. Here are your lovely, lovely, lovely fish vans. Oh, There we go. Fish trucks. There you go. Fish deliveries. And what this comes directly from that Shellfish fishing harbour we built. And these are going to be going directly into the fish market. So we can just follow this van for a little while and we'll see it go into the fish market directly. Once they are in, then that means they've got fish to sell and the market will come alive, and you'll see that happen in just a few moments. So they turn in, deliver their fish. Okay, so they have now got fish. So once they got fish, that means that they are now ready, open for business, and you're going to start seeing people arrive. So you can see there's one person here, Aspen. He's visiting the fish market, and now this is ready for people to come by and buy fish directly to the consumer. Now this at the moment is not helping my commercial areas. This is only helping out people who will stop by here directly and to buy fish, but it will not help my shops or anything like that. In order to do that, I need to have a fish factory, and you can find that underneath your fishing industry tab, and it is underneath the fish factory settings. Sorry, the fish line right at the end is fish factory. You can see here it's got a very large footprint, but that's not too much to worry about. I'm going to place it at the end of the fishing road here, so it doesn't have that far to go. You can see there's a bit of a dodgy kind of hilltop here, but that's fine. Once you place this works very much similar to how your other industry buildings work. You can see that it's got the kind of a production line there that you get fish in, and then that makes commercial goods, and then this can be exported directly out. So that's quite nice. So we can see some other things on here, that the fish factory produces goods from fresh fish. Production rate is 0 units per week, and the freight trucks is 15. So there's no freight trucks actually in use at the moment, because there are no fish being produced, because no fish have been delivered yet. So we just got to wait for fish. So we can see here, shellfish are being delivered from the fishing harbour to the fish factory. So we don't have that far to go, meaning that there's less stress on the trucks that are being used to deliver fish, and so that means it can go directly back to the fishing harbour quite quickly and do its next delivery, keeping everything kind of topped up. So we can now see that it has got 4 tons of stored fish, which is going through producing. So far has made 4 tons of goods, and then this is then going to be shipped out across the whole world of your city into the commercial zones, making it really nice and good. So it helps boost those. So if you are getting those areas of not enough canned goods or not enough goods to sell, this is your answer. Literally, this is what you're waiting for. Absolutely. So now we can see there's another icon here. Not enough buyers for fish. Okay, so that means we've got a lot of fish and all of my trucks are in use, but there is nothing's happening. Why is nothing happening? So I've got my fish factory, so hopefully now that's going to be producing that. Now you can build multiple fish factories, so I'm going to build a second one. I can't yet, because I can't place them there, because this fire depot is just in the way. I can't place it anywhere else. Actually, I can place it up there maybe. Yeah, I'll place it up there, and then I can place my fish factories now. I'll do fish factory there. So you can see there, I've now got 2 fish factories which are now inside my industrial area, which are now producing fish for my commercial zones. Perfect. And that will help alleviate some of the pressure from my fishing harbour. So that's one type of fishing harbour. All the fishing harbours work basically the same. It's a case of, let's to recap, you place down the fishing harbour, you then draw the route of the boat that goes out, make sure it goes through the fishing ground of the type of fish that you want it to have. So once again, you've got anchovies, salmon, shellfish and tuna. So the shellfish and tuna, they are unlocked when you have got 2 million fish caught, whereas the salmon and anchovies, you unlock those when you get 250,000 fish caught. So it's a progression step in there. So yeah, that's the harbours. Let's move on to the final thing here, which are the farms. Now the farms are very different to how the harbours work. I mean, you do not have to place any form of route down. You don't really have to plan where your fishing places are going to be. So if you are struggling to get those fishing routes in place, maybe you've got quite a small map and you've only got a couple of lakes and things like that, then the farms might be the better route for you. So farms are stationary. They just operate and they produce a steady rate of fish. Now there are three types of farms. You've got the basic fish farm, which is unlocked at the busy town milestone. So it's a milestone of the game and the city, and you just unlock it as you go along, which is quite nice. So you don't have to do any fishing kind of industry unlock for that. But as you move on, then it actually is very different. So you've got a different milestone. You have fish farm. So you can't have a fishing harbour and it unlocks farms for you. It doesn't work like that. So the next stage up is the algae farm. So in order to have fish, you've got to have 800,000 fish farmed, which that's fine because the fish farm has a production rate of 4,800 fish a week. Then the algae farm has a production rate of 8,000 fish per week. And then moving up that, you have got the seaweed farm, which is unlocked at 3,200,000 fish farmed, and that produces 14,400 fish per week. So it's already a considerable amount of fish being farmed. So it is actually a viable alternative option to the harbours. Yeah, you don't have the boats and you don't get to draw the line, you don't get the lovely fishing animations, things like that, but you do get this farm. So let's have a look at some of these models, shall we? So they're exactly in the same section, and the main difference is that they, rather than having the fishing jetties, they will have like little pods out in the sea. So let's have a look at the fish farm. Am I able to place it down? Yes, put it there. So that's the fishing farm. We can see it's got these little kind of nets out in the sea, which are automatic, they're just placed there. And then this just produces fish. So once again, this requires water. That's not a problem. There we go. So this just produces fish at a constant rate. Let's connect this up to the road. Okay. This has got 15 trucks in it, so that's not too bad in use. And yeah, that now produces fish at a constant rate. You don't have to worry about fishing zones. It's not a case of it's in what zone is it in? Oh no, I don't know. It might catch only anchovies, and this one will only catch shellfish. It doesn't matter. They will just produce fish. So it's constant rate. It just operates. And then this is then shipped out to either your fish factories, or it is shipped out directly to your fish market, which you can see now is coming to life. Now you can build multiple fish markets. So if you've got multiple town centres, you've got multiple areas you want to build multiple fish markets. Why not? I see their fish sold 80 tourists last week. 1. Perfect. Happy days. Right, let's move on to some of these other fish farms. So up there, then you've got the algae, which has got a slightly different model. Ooh. It's basically just got a different kind of net, but has got algae growing in it, and then that is exactly the same. It is then sent out to be the fish factory and is then canned for fish. Now, as I said at the start, all these produce fish. It doesn't matter what type of farm or harbour it is, they produce fish. Full stop. So it's algae, but it produces fish. It's confusing, but don't worry. The only difference between these ones is just the progression of it. So this produces 4,800 units of fish per week. This produces 8,000 units of fish per week. And we move on to the last one here, which is the seaweed farm. So this is the biggest one of the lot. And if we place it here, you can see the big difference is, rather than having the nets quite far out, they're closer into shore here, and they just harvest seaweed right here. Now see, these are kind of dynamically floating things, so if you had higher water level, they would be higher up the jetties and things like that, but because the water is quite low in this, they just are. That's just how they operate. And then this one being the biggest one of the lot, and you can see is a lot bigger than the previous two, but this produces the fish in the capacity of 14,400, so produces a lot of fish. So yeah, I could go on and I could explain all the different types of harbours, but pretty much, and show you different type of harbours, but they are all basically the same. You've got two types. You've got the basic fishing harbour, which catches all types of fish, or you got this specific trade and the type of specific fish harbour. They're basically all the same. So if you're wondering why I haven't shown you different types of harbours, it's because they are basically all the same. So yeah, with that being said, I think that's pretty much it on the fishing industry. There's a lot to cover in that and digest in that video. So if you're a little bit stuck and you're still not quite sure and I haven't covered something, pop it in the comment section below, and if I feel that there's quite a few of you asking, then I may do like a little kind of bonus video to explain certain things from what I know. If there's other topics you want me to cover, please put them in the comment section below. I'd love to know what you guys are wanting help with and what you guys just want explained, and I'm happy to go through any pretty topic in City Skylines. I cover quite a range. Yeah. If you enjoyed this video and you like your fish, hit that like button, and absolutely it really helps me out. And also subscribe. Why not? I know about 1% of you who watch these videos is actually subscribed, so if you're not, why not? Hit that like button. Only takes a second, so please do. So yeah, with that being said, I've been Scotty from a Blue Coconut family. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.